In this video, we are going to talk about the encryption algorithm used in ransomware to encrypt files on the victim. The ransomware finds a directory on the victim machine. Once it finds the directory, it is going to list the files in the directory. In order to list the files in the directory and iterate through those, it uses the API find first file and find next file. If there are no more files present in the directory, then the ransomware moves on to the next directory. If there are files present in the directory, then the ransomware is going to extract the extension of the file. And for extracting the extension, it can use APIs like path find extension. After extracting the extension of the file, the ransomware is going to check the extension against hard-coded list of file extension, which can be XLS, doc, PDF, and JPEG. If the file extension matches, then the ransomware is going to encrypt the file. Otherwise, it is going to move on to the next file. Once the extension matches, then the ransomware is going to read the contents of the file and then encrypt them. And it reads the contents of the file in chunks. It can use the API's read file and set file pointer to read the contents of the file in chunks and place them in a buffer. After placing the contents in the buffer, the ransomware is going to encrypt the contents in the buffer using an encryption key. And the encryption key is generated by a key generation algorithm. The key generation algorithm generates a key at runtime and it is specific to the victim machine. That means the ransomware generates a different key for different victim machines. And in order to generate the encryption key, the ransomware can use APIs like CryptGen key. And after getting the key, the ransomware can use the API CryptEncrypt to encrypt the buffer. And once the buffer is encrypted, it can be written. The encrypted buffer can be written to the file using write file and set file pointer. And this process is repeated. So every time the chunk is taken out of the file, then put in a buffer, then the buffer is encrypted and then written back to the file. And once the ransomware has encrypted the entire contents of the file, then it is going to change the extension of the file, and then it can use the move file API to change the extension. And after that, it can move on to the next file and then encrypt it again. Now we see that the key generated on the victim machine is unique to the victim machine. So the ransomware is required to store this key on the victim machine. And the ransomware can store the key generated on the victim machine by using the API crypt export key. And this stored key can be later used by the ransomware to decrypt the encrypted files. But this is not straightforward because this encrypted key is again stored on the victim machine in an encrypted form. And it is encrypted using the public key embedded in the ransomware. And you cannot get back this key until you retrieve back the private key from the attacker. If you want to learn reverse engineering ransomware, if you want to know about the APIs like CryptEncrypt key, then, and if you are interested in reverse engineering, then you can visit academy.intelliroot.com.